Welcome back to Morning Break, and this week's Monday Motivations brought to you by Gates Brain Health. Dr. Randall Gates is a board-certified chiropractic neurologist and chiropractic physician, and today we are talking about migraine, something I'm very excited to talk about because I am a migraine sufferer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, not as much as it was when I was younger, between the ages of about like 8 to probably about 15 or so. It was particularly bad, and then in college found kind of some ways to get over it, you know, changing my diet, changing the way that I slept, and how I handled stress, of course. So now I fortunately don't deal with it that much, but I know there are a lot of people who do. So let's start with the difference between a headache and a migraine. What are symptoms of a headache?
I mean, symptoms of a headache are head pain, achiness. Where the difference lies is that a migraine is much more severe typically. If it inhibits activities of daily living, it's pulsating, it's one-sided, more likely we start to think there's a migraine involved.
Okay,
if that makes sense. There can be other associated symptoms. About 20% of people have an aura, so they may see changes in their vision, sparkles in their vision, lightning bolts preceding the headache. Some people have auras without a headache too. And then also light and sound sensitivity are common too. So if the headache is so bad you have to go into a dark room, you can't, you know, be around bright lights and loud noises, and likely we're looking at a migraine. Yes,
and if you're tracking along with us, we've got those symptoms right there on your screen. Now for me, when I was suffering with migraines, I had the auras. It was over light fixtures and kind of around people's heads a lot and stuff. And then I also was the person who would get really sick, like nauseous and stuff. And so I would immediately, like, if I was in pain in my head, my stomach was in pain too. And sometimes I wouldn't even feel better till I've relieved myself.
Which is common.
Yes. And then I would be like, and I'm going into a dark closet. My mother used to actually make me a little bed inside her, like walk-in closet, because it was the darkest room in the house. So that was very helpful. But now we're going to get into the difference between migraines and vestibular migraines. Can you talk about those?
Well, vestibular migraines are a very interesting diagnostic entity because they're relatively new. So the label was put on it, I think, around 12 to 15 years ago. And in essence, we're finding that a lot of people who have dizziness or vertigo actually have vestibular migraines.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's almost like the migraine focus moved down in the brain into the brain stem or the lower portion of the brain called the cerebellum.
So at what point do people need to say, hey, I might need to go and visit you because of whatever they're feeling? At what point do you know that that becomes an issue?
I think most commonly, most individuals go the mainstream medical route, which I totally get first. And if they're not getting the results there that they want, then they call us. And there are a lot of people suffering, unfortunately, with vertigo, dizziness, migraines. And the literature is definitive that there are a lot of dietary as well as lifestyle as well as related autoimmune conditions that affect these issues, vestibular migraines and migraines.
Yeah, because I think that's one of the interesting things, that the causes can vary and stuff, but there are causes out there that we know of. Can you talk about the causes for both migraines and vestibular migraines?
Yeah, it's number one, I would talk to your doctor about getting your thyroid checked. Okay. So thyroid hormones are important. Hashimoto's, which I talk about very frequently, this autoimmune response to the thyroid, not commonly checked, and that's thought to be a precipitating factor for these vestibular migraines and migraines. Also, blood sugar is really important. So pre-diabetes or reactive hypoglycemia, so people who have blood sugar issues, they get jittery and shaky if they don't eat, and their blood sugar might be going too high after they eat, we're actually finding that's very, very hard on the brain.
That's so interesting. And again, all of these things that just matter. And diet, I think, is one of the things that you are very keen on, because with as a chiropractic neurologist, you're looking at the way that the whole body affects the brain, right?
How the body
diet
affects the brain.
And what you're putting into your gut really does matter. Are there particular foods that tend to be more triggers than others?
Well, I think classically most people know, like cheese, wine, chocolate can be migraine triggers. In my opinion, it goes way deeper than that. And we're also finding mast cell responses. I don't think I've talked about that on KOLO yet, but it's a type of immune cell that secretes histamine. So I'm seeing mast cell issues with a lot of my migraineurs, and I even did a talk on YouTube called Mast Cells and Migraines. So for anybody who's interested, you can go and watch that.
Yeah, and then maybe we'll just have to have you back here to talk about it, because I'm very intrigued, but unfortunately we don't have time. So kind of last questions, what are some things that people can do at home to treat their migraines?
At home, I think, because migraines are so severe, you really need a doctor's care, so you need to be having these conversations with your doctors. With migraines, lots of times, many things are tried, so medications are tried, maybe Botox is tried, referral to headache specialty centers are attempted. So you just have to continue that conversation. If it's not working, then I would give us a call at Gates Brain Health if you're interested in a natural approach.
All right, Dr. Grates, thank you as always for being here. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Anytime. All right, we'll be right back after this quick break.
Cool.